Good afternoon. We have high fire danger across Colorado today. High winds, warm temperatures brought us several brush fires today. We start with one in Denver. It was near 10th and Sheridan. A call coming in just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. Nobody got hurt, but part of Sheridan was closed while crews put that fire out. It was pretty small, only stretched about 2 acres, and we're still trying to figure out how it started. We have video of a big grass fire near I-80 west of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Earlier today, I-25 was closed at the border between Colorado and Wyoming for about an hour because of that fire. And we already saw one fast-moving grass fire in Douglas County yesterday in the Perry Park area. That is now 100% contained, but it grew fast when it was growing, up to 150 acres, nearly a quarter of a square mile. There was another small brush fire today right between Brighton and Fort Lupton. So, Lauren, these have just kind of been popping up here and there. We've got red flag alerts going on as well as tomorrow.
That's right, and that's exactly why we have these red flag warnings, because when our air gets so dry and these winds are so gusty, it's very easy to trigger those fires. And with those really strong winds, those fires move very quickly. So we will continue to watch for those red flag alerts as we go into the weekend. I think they might even get extended into Monday. And then right after that, we'll be watching for some snow to push on in. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current temperatures. We're at 58 degrees right now at DIA. We saw a high of around 62 degrees just a few hours ago, but most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains is in the upper 50s, lower to middle 60s. We're even seeing those upper 60s to the southeast, 67 right now in Lamar and in Springfield, 20s, 30s, 40s in the high country, 50s out west. And of course, we're much warmer than we were just this time yesterday. Take a look at our 24-hour temperature change map. The entire eastern half of the state, mostly between 5 to 15 degrees warmer than we were just this time yesterday. And those temperatures are just going to increase as we go into the day tomorrow. But let's take a look at our HD Doppler radar. Not a whole lot happening over Colorado. Some light cloud cover to the west. That's really about it. As we go through the day tomorrow, we're going to see more red flag warnings. We do still have some in effect until 6 o'clock today, so for another hour or so. And then we're going to look for another round tomorrow from 11 to 6. In addition to those red flag warnings to the east, to the west, we have winter storm watches. I'll have details on everything we can expect, though, coming up just in my 7-day forecast.
Lauren, thank you. Police are investigating several hit-and-run situations across the Denver area this weekend. First, in Lakewood, police say keep an eye out for this car. Police say the driver hit and killed somebody last night around 7:30. This was at 23rd and Kipling in Lakewood. The car is a 2014 black Camaro. Police say it's got damage on the front, has a broken windshield, and is also missing the driver's side headlight. If you know anything, please call Lakewood Police or 911. One person was taken to the hospital with serious injuries after they got hit while crossing I-25 near 50th in Denver. That's kind of close to I-25 and 70. Police say they found the driver, they've arrested the driver, and they believe alcohol is a factor in that crash.
The situation on the battlefield remains extremely serious. President Putin's aim to dominate Ukraine has not changed. But we must not lose heart.
Today marks 2 years since Russia invaded Ukraine, the largest attack on a European country since World War II. This week, the U.S. announced hundreds of sanctions against Russia after the death of Vladimir Putin's most outspoken critic, Alexei Navalny. Today, a spokesperson for Navalny's family says his body has now been returned to his mother. Support for Ukraine continues worldwide and right here in Colorado. Dozens of people draped in the colors of that country's flag rallied at the state capitol this afternoon. 9 News reporter Lauren Scafidi talked to one woman who fled Ukraine and is trying to navigate a new life here in Colorado.
Even with all this support in Denver,
Slava Ukraini!
it's tough for Yana Krotova.
2 years ago, my family and I, we woke up with loud explosion around us. So it was so terrible, and I feel the same today because I remember it.
Saturday marks 2 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
Russia demolished all my neighborhood where I lived.
2 dark years later.
2 years ago today.
Дякую. Мене звуть Яна, я з міста Маріуполь.
Yana bravely shares her story of losing her home, her business.
I want that people knew what happened in Ukraine now.
And the days that changed her life.
When we were in Mariupol, we lived without food, without water.
Yana, her husband, and 12-year-old son packed up and moved to Colorado about 4 months after the war started, learning a new language, a new country, a new everything.
We arrived just with one suitcase from our past life, so we need to build a new life.
With the war entering its third year, it's hard to tell what's next.
We can't back to my city because it's occupied now.
But she says they need support.
I think it's the main thing why I'm here.
Slava Ukraini!
Mark Dillon with Ukrainians of Colorado says the point of the rally is for Ukrainians to be seen and heard.
So today is to raise awareness of where we are right now, and it's also to gain support for actions in the U.S. Congress to provide assistance to Ukraine.
It's a call for change, a chance for hope.
Дуже дякую. Слава Україні!
Thank you.
In Denver, Lawrence Gafidi, 9 News.
Ukraine has, of course, been asking the U.S. for more funding. The aid package that's stalled, there is one stalled in Congress right now. The Senate already approved it almost 2 weeks ago. That package would send a total of $95 billion to Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. But it has been stalled while the House is on recess. They will be back to work on Wednesday. Colorado Democratic Senator Michael Bennett is in Ukraine right now. Yesterday, he called on the U.S. and other countries to do their part to help.
The American people understand how important this fight is, and they understand the sacrifices that the Ukrainian people have taken on our behalf and on behalf of democracies around the world.
Senator Bennett went on to push for support for that aid package, saying broad bipartisan support is needed for the U.S. to continue supporting Ukraine. Back here at home, we know gun violence is a huge problem for young people in our community. Today, some education and youth advocacy groups in Denver got together to try to brainstorm some solutions. At a town hall at West High School, organizers focused on how gun violence can impact kids' mental health. And they say a lot of the challenges start in schools.
Addressing some of those issues that students are facing today in education. Re-entry is one, gun violence is another, teacher burnout. There's a lot of different things happening in this space, but our goal today is to really connect some of those common issues that we're hearing about, have a collaborative conversation, and start to talk about solutions.
And the organizers said in order to find those good solutions, the community has to have collaborative conversations between all sorts of groups, like educators, police, and community leaders. Nearly a year now after the shooting at East High School in Denver, we're learning more this week about the student who shot 2 deans on campus and then later killed himself. 9 News got a hold of some new documents in the investigation this week showing that a classmate had reported Austin Lyle the very same month that shooting happened. The report says Denver officers did follow up and visited Lyle's home, but somebody living there would not let them inside. DPD says they didn't issue a warrant because they didn't have enough information to determine there was a crime. Aurora police had already investigated him after he'd been expelled from a high school in the Cherry Creek School District for trying to sell a gun and ammunition. 3 weeks after the classmate in Denver reported him, Lyle shot 2 deans during a pat-down for weapons. A new resource is now coming to Colorado to help track gun violence in our state. The Office of Gun Violence Prevention is launching what it calls a resource bank. They will share gun violence research and interactive dashboard with data about injuries, deaths, all that from guns. The health department says using a public health approach will help them better understand the scope of gun violence in our state. Between 2016 and 2021, an average of 911 people died in Colorado every year from guns. Tonight, we're beginning to see the earliest results of the Republican primary in South Carolina. Polls just closed in the last few minutes, and the Associated Press is already projecting Donald Trump will win that state. South Carolina is Nikki Haley's home state. She cast her ballot there this morning. But Trump had already won the 3 state primary elections before today's, and he had been leading Haley in the polls by a wide margin.
I defeated a dozen of the fellas. I just have one more fella I got to catch up to.
We're going to win this state, and then we're going to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
No matter what's happening in South Carolina, Haley has promised to keep campaigning through Super Tuesday on March 5th. President Joe Biden already won South Carolina's Democratic primary. Colorado's primary, by the way, little more than a week away, also on March 5th. If you're planning to mail in your ballot, you're running out of time, guys. The deadline is Monday to put that in the mail and guarantee it will arrive on time. After that, you got lots of options, though. You can always drop your ballot off at a drop box or a polling center. You have until 7 o'clock in the evening on Election Day. Haley, by the way, is the only candidate planning to make a stop in Colorado. She'll be here on Tuesday for a campaign event.